Good afternoon. Once again, I'm here to provide an update for homicide number 21 for 2012. Yesterday, here in this gallery, I announced that I would sometime today be providing to members of the media an update on how members of the public could assist with the investigation of the shooting down at the Toronto Eaton Centre on Saturday. Many of you know now that one person is under arrest and will be charged with one count of first-degree murder . I want to emphasize, before going any further, that regardless of the quick arrest that has been made in this case, by no means is this investigation into the tragic events of last Saturday concluded. For those who are unfamiliar with police investigations, more often than not, investigations of this magnitude are lengthy and continue as an accused parallels their way through the judicial system. It is therefore extremely important that anyone who has not yet come forward and who has any information, not to make the mistake or assumption that your information is not important, and therefore still contact a member of the investigative team. I urge you to do that. Your information remains as important now as it did before an arrest was made. Just an update on the deceased in this investigation and the remaining victims that are in the hospital. An autopsy was completed yesterday on Mr. Ahmed Hassan. The official cause of death is gunshot injuries. Also, a 23-year-old man remains in the hospital with multiple gunshot injuries to his neck and chest. His condition remains critical. The remaining hospitalized victim, a 13-year-old boy who was shot in the head, continues to improve. His condition is described as serious but stable. I am extremely happy to report that both he and his family are doing very well given all that they have endured. In terms of the announcements I indicated I would make yesterday, I wish to now announce the following. Firstly, if you have any information and you still have not spoken with a police officer, I would ask that you contact the Homicide Squad directly at 416-808-7400 so that arrangements can be made to speak with you. If you do not wish to call the police directly, I still urge you to call Crime Stoppers at 222-TIPS or via Crime Stoppers website at www.22tips.com. Secondly, to those members of the public that were in the urban eatery and who abandoned their personal property over concerns for their safety, your property has been sent to Toronto Police Service 51 Division, which is located at 51 Parliament Street in the downtown Toronto area. I would ask for your patience in receiving your property. There are many people who will need to attend there. Beginning tomorrow at 9 a.m. and continuing until Friday, June 8th, you may attend to retrieve your property. It is vital that you attend with proper photo identification and are able to support your claim for the articles that you left behind. Also, property can be picked up anytime between 9 a.m. and 9 p.m. and it is not necessary for you to call ahead before attending. In fact, it is preferable that you do not call ahead unless there are extenuating circumstances and alternate arrangements need to be made. Thirdly, as I indicated on this prompter here, given the use of cell cameras, I have no doubt that members of the public will have taken photos or video that could assist with this investigation. I would respectfully ask that you share that information with my investigative team. A web page has been created where the public can upload photo and videos in order to assist with this investigation. It is accessible via a link at the top of the Toronto Police Service homepage or by visiting Toronto Police, all one word, .on.ca/homicide/assist. Users can opt to leave their information, including their name and phone number and email address. However, there is no requirement to leave contact information in order to upload those files. Next, given that this case is now before the courts, I will not be addressing important aspects of our investigation or evidence in this case, other than to indicate the following. Our investigation continues to suggest that this is a targeted shooting and not a random act of violence against members of the general public. Even though there are several persons who have now been identified in this case as being known gang members or who have gang associations, I do not believe this to be a gang-motivated shooting. Beyond saying that, I am not in a position to address aspects going to motive in this shooting. Lastly, nothing has changed in terms of assailants. There was one shooter, one gun. Unfortunately, that gun inflicted a substantial amount of human damage. Finally, and in concluding, as the lead investigator in this case, I would like to thank on behalf of a very large investigative team and support team from across the Toronto Police Service to all of those who have assisted in any way to bring this case to a successful conclusion. As well, to say to those directly impacted by this incident and to the people of Toronto and to everyone from everywhere who has expressed some concern, that I hope that this arrest brings some sense of relief and assurance that the person I believe responsible and has been apprehended, and that that person will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. Questions?
Are you looking for any other suspects?
We are not looking for any suspects.
And secondly, if I may, why was Mr. Husbands on the house arrest?
As I've indicated, he's on criminal charges before the courts. I won't go any further than that.
We've heard that Christopher Husbands and Ahmed Hassan knew each other, that there was an incident a couple months ago where one stabbed the other. Can you confirm that?
Again, I'm very limited in terms of how or what I can indicate in respect of the ongoing investigation, and obviously being sensitive that there will be a prosecution in this case, so I'm not going to discuss any aspects of evidence.
Did they know each other?
There is indications that they did know each other, correct.
The other victim, sir, the one who's in critical condition, is he connected to the crime?
I believe that he was with the deceased in this case at the time of the shooting, correct.
The 23-year-old?
Correct.
Detective Sergeant Bork, how do you explain the fact that you said now we do believe that they have gang affiliation, some of these people are gang associations, yet it's not gang related? That seems a little bit hard to fathom that.
Well, I disagree. There are people who go about their business. There are people who have associations to gangs. Regardless, I do not believe that this is a gang-motivated homicide. I believe there's personal aspects involved.
We're all three members of the same gang.
Correct.
What's the name of the gang?
I won't go any further than I've already gone.
Was there an incident at Alexander Park earlier in the day connected to this shooting?
As I've indicated before, I'm not going to talk about other aspects of the investigation.
How do you know that they're both involved in this? I mean, you said there's indication. How do you?
Because the Toronto Police Service keep track of individuals and their associations to gangs.
What can you tell us about the charges Mr. Hassan is facing or was facing in Edmonton Court Farm?
Be very honest with you, this being such a fluid investigation, I'd like to be able to answer that. I just honestly don't have that information in front of me right now.
For the victims that left behind their purses and other, some of them may have left behind their picture IDs. What do they do?
Well, obviously, we have to be very accommodating to that, and we have been. There are a number of people who have already approached us who are visitors to the city, and certainly we have to be adaptable and flexible to assist. So obviously, in circumstances like that, we will do everything we can to assist them so that they can get their property back.
You recovered the gun?
I'm not going to talk about aspects of the investigation.
There were 8 people in here that are dead, but you're having 7 charges. How do you explain that?
1 charge of murder and 6 counts of attempted murder.
But there's 1 more person injured, is that correct?
Yeah, the other person is a person who was stomped on during the chaos that ensued afterwards. She was not shot. This is a pregnant woman. Correct.
Just to confirm, sorry, the second victim, would you say he was also targeted along with Mr. Hassan?
I don't know that definitively one way or the other, perhaps, but again, that's an open aspect of the investigation.
So what's the motive behind
I appreciate your question, but we won't be discussing motive today.
Can you tell us why you won't be going into motive? Because I mean, that's a question a lot of people.
We don't discuss motive. Motive is an aspect of prosecution, and we don't discuss prosecution in these circumstances.
From what we understand, Mr. Hassan was facing numerous charges, drug charges, assault charges in Edmonton, then skipped on his bail and fled to Toronto, where he ran into pushback from the gang members here. Can you confirm?
Yeah, once again, all of that may be true or not. I, unfortunately, as I said, because of the nature of this investigation, its magnitude, that may be true or not. I just can't comment on it.
So were you familiar with Mr. Husband's identification before he turned himself in? I.e., was he a suspect before he turned himself in?
Mr. Husbands was a suspect before he turned himself in.
Is the suspect linked in any way to the 2005 Boxing Day shooting? Is that true?
I can tell you unequivocally, because I was involved in that investigation as a co-lead investigator, he was not.
Last question? Okay, thank you very much.